future of things. In the early 1800s, smoke signals was used to communicate. Today, I'm going to talk about three very important aspects of life. The first thing is information. The second thing is communication. And the last thing is the future. Now, all of these things work very, very well together. Okay? You can't have one without the other. Without information, you couldn't communicate. Without communication and information, the future is null and void. The subtitle of my talk today is Your Story is the Best Story Ever Told. Let's take it to the digital age. We're in the digital age right now. Right now, we have so many devices that assist us in our communications. Back in the days, as far as I can remember, we had beepers. Are you guys familiar with beepers? Yeah? So if you wanted to communicate with someone, you had to send them a message. 911 was an emergency, and sometimes we used those emergencies in vain. I know I did. Then we had the cell phone. There was a big block that people used to carry around in a suitcase or a briefcase, and that was used for communication when you're on the go. Communication is very, very, very important in our everyday life, as well as information. We're going to talk about information first because that is the basis of everything. Everything we know comes through information. When I was a child, I collected information from my mother and father. In fact, I've been collecting information long before I was born. Once I was conceived, I started to collect information. And through that information, I was able to communicate with my parents, with my friends, and with anybody that I came in contact with. Information. Let's look at the word. Let's break down the word. Anytime I hear a word that starts with in, I immediately know that it's talking about within. Formation is patterns. Formation is patterns, and if you take on someone else's information, you're taking on their patterns. When we're children, we take on many patterns from the people and environment that we're in. I did 6 years in federal prison, and I'm going to tell you the information that I received to do that time. As a child, my mother told me, son, when you see those people that have money, they have to rob someone to get rich. As a child, the way I received that information, I carried on until I was about 15, 16 years old, and I told myself that I'm going to get me some money. Now, because of the information that I knew that I had, and it was taken in a wrong context, I took that information and I did what I thought was what I had to do in order to get rich. Information is the key to our success. Information is the key to our future. Communication. We have so many ways to communicate. Cell phones, Zoom, FaceTime. Everything you can think of is a way to communicate. Emails, everything. Now, the future. Honestly, be quiet. I'm on stage right now. Be quiet. I'm on stage. Call me back. I'm sorry, guys. I was just communicating with myself. If you don't understand the power of communication, I'm going to tell you how deep communication is. Information that we took on as children, we still communicate with ourselves today. Our future is based on the communication that we have with ourselves. How did I get here? Look at me. I'm on a TEDx. Look at me. How did I get here? I would say I don't know, but that's not the truth. I communicated this with myself a long time when I first seen TED Talk. I had a conversation with myself. Oh my God, one day I'm going to be on that. And I told myself that I would. And look at me now. That is the power of communication. When you're able to commute with yourself and tell yourself who you are, you're doing a good job in communicating. So what happened when we were children, we got a lot of information. Remember I said information is inside patterns. Now the problem is sometimes that information wasn't beneficial to the livelihoods that we want to live. So moving forward, in order for you to have a good future with communication, today is the day that you communicate with yourself right. Today is the father of tomorrow. I like to think of my thoughts as my children. And I ask myself, who do I want to raise? Do I want to raise the negative thoughts? Or do I want to raise the positive thoughts? It's always my choice. Information. Information is the basis on everything that we know. They created the internet that moves a lot of information. And if you understand how this thing called life works, you would feed yourself the information that is necessary for you to live the life that you want to live. Have you guys ever heard the phrase, you are what you eat? For a very long time, I really thought they were talking about food all the time. And they were, but not necessarily physical food, mental food. Everything that you take in, you digest, or I like to say that you impress, which really means I'm pressed on whatever information that I'm taking in. And then I have the ability to communicate or express what I've taken in. So I impress the information and I express it in communication. Communication is the key to our future. And if we understand that no matter what device, no matter what technology creates, they'll never make anything that you're able to use to communicate with yourself. I'm speaking. Sometimes you got to check yourself, because sometimes that old program is going based on information that was received from people who only know themselves. Every information, all information that you receive from other people is based on a perspective that they can only see of their own. So not all information that you receive is good information for communication. And as adults, we have to be very mindful of the information that we're receiving. As adults, we have to be very mindful of the environments that we put ourselves in order to receive information. I'm going to let you go with this one. Like I said, I'm going to talk about information, communication, and the future. Today is the future. Whatever you conceive today is birth tomorrow. So if you plan on having a good future, I promise you, you better impregnate yourself with some good information. My name is Josey Wellz. I hope that I touched something and made you think about your tomorrows, because tomorrow is all based on what you do today. And that's communication for you. Communication in the future. The future is mine, y'all. Josey Wellz, y'all.